Leftists are dangerously insane.
You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Leftist lies and globalists, I'm pushing them back. From the saloon to the airwaves, I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big guns creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands. But I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Freedom's calling. Leftist judges twisting, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rainbow shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. I've walked the line, 41 years, badge on the grind, now I'm on the air. My voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall. Sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas static, hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, rules will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network. God, did he just have a stroke or what? A stroke of good luck, because you're here tonight watching me, and I'm broadcasting from North Idaho in an actual free state. I happen to be this guy, and I can run electric things to tell you this. I am your conservative Sherpa. I am guiding you through the insidious maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, tyranny, and betrayal. That happens to be me, and I am super happy, super chunky, super happy that you are here tonight. Please note, what you're going to hear for the next 2 hours consists of my opinion and my opinion only, and perhaps that of my guest. I have just released the proverbial cat out of the bag. There's the cat. I don't have a picture of the bag. I'm doing the job the American media maggots won't. I am fundamentally changing America one leftist diaper at a time. Remembering, of course, that we don't water our drinks, just like we don't water our conversations. We are still serving, I believe, stiff drinks along in the saloon with, let's see, facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, clarity, tradition, and common sense for normal people. Politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here in the saloon, where the speech is free, but the booze is not. Now that we've gotten that over with, hey, was this a great night or what? By the way, programming note for those of you who just may have tuned in. Don't worry, Mike is here. I said there's Mike Fitzpatrick. He's here. Fret and fear nonce. Let it bounce off thy scabby pate like mine. He's here, and the programming note indicates that I'm hoping this coming Thursday night, will be myself and SHR minions and KLRN minions, and coming here to discuss what occurred tonight. I may gloss over them a bit. We may talk about some election results. But before we do that, as you would expect no less out of me, by the way, if you're not in my plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room, I don't know why you aren't, because we also have 667 incredible subscriptions on the SHR Media Network channel, and also on YouTube. When you're there, when you go to the SHR Media YouTube channel, yeah, Mike is back there going, God, if I'd only done some heroin before I came here tonight, this would have been a lot better. Oh my God. Anyway, click on the bell and you'll get notified of our shows. And if you would share the show from wherever the heck that you are right now. And also, as I indicate, there's our chat room. Isn't it great? It's fall. Now, by this time next week, all the leaves are brown and the sky is gray and the sky is gray. Okay, that's all you're going to get out of me, except that this is so weird. I'll have you know that the KLRN players are going to do the Wizard of Oz, I think in December sometime. December or maybe January. I don't know if a true date has been hammered out yet. And BZ has been solicited. This will be a musical. It will be a musical. BZ has been solicited with his golden pipes to appear as some kind of a costumed character on the Wizard of Oz. Now, if that ain't some funny stuff, gosh, I don't know what is. Speaking of funny stuff, you would expect no less of this also, that I would have the carousel of amusing GURP. Now, the first one here, and I do my level best to make sure that I get only the finest videos for you. I swear to God, we'll get Mike in here. Okay, so here's a video that I managed to snag from the Democrats. Let me make sure that I got it. Okay, here we go. And the volume is on. Go.
I have Trump derangement syndrome.
One more.
I have Trump derangement syndrome.
Okay, luckily, this was when she had just gotten through her eye injections, and I caught the video. She made this behind a mirror. It was wonderful. And then, of course, you would not be surprised. Here, let me pull this back a little bit. that I also found a very unique video of Gavin Newsom. Listen to what he says. Only here can you see the accuracy that BZ yields for you. Producer, go.
Like a castrato, Governor. Do you have any balls, yes or no?
Yes, I do have balls. They're tiny though, so when I cross my legs like this, it doesn't really hurt. I actually like pressing my tiny little balls like this.
Why do you cross your legs like a castrato?
See, we missed that part, like a castrato. But wait, was that guy that was in Chips, Eric Castrato? I don't remember. Anyway, here we go. We have another video. Oh, no, this isn't a video. This is something cool to bring to you guys. This was a short-lived, let me put this up on the stage right now. This is real. No, wait, BZ. The other videos, they were real. Stop denigrating yourself, would you? Okay, see? Discipline. Anyway, this is EBT of TikTok, and you can find it on X at EBT of TikTok, oddly enough. And if you go here, you're going to find some stuff that is just, quite frankly, amusing as hell. It's the stuff that of which dreams are made, and you can write it. Speaking of Gavin Newsom, and let me see, here we go. This is what Gavin thinks of us. We are so oppressive. And he's going to roll his eyes at us. And this is also what he says. You need to listen closely here, because this isn't hyperbole. This is truth.
Nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you. And we all just sit there rolling our eyes going, nothing.
See, did I not tell you that there was eye rolling involved? Both items, both varieties of eye rolling, 1A and 1B, both together, concomitant. And I believe in my carousel of amusing GURP, I think I have one more thing. Now, this, like all the others that I portrayed to you up to this point, these are all real. And this is, let me give you some background. This is Helena City in Montana, of all places, folks, Montana, where a Montana Commission candidate by the name of Haley McKnight left this voicemail for Senator Tim Sheehy, who oddly enough happens to be a Republican, if you can feature that, telling him that she hopes that, well, let's put this up here and listen to what she says to a senator. This is a loving woman.
Hi, this is Haley McKnight. I'm a constituent in Helena, Montana, and I just wanted to let you know that you are the most insufferable kind of coward and thief. You just stripped away healthcare for 17 million Americans, and I hope you're really proud of that. I hope that one day you get pancreatic cancer and it spreads throughout your body so fast that they can't even treat you for it. I hope that you die in the street like a dog. One day you're going to live to regret this. I hope that your children never forgive you. I hope that you are infertile. I hope you never manage to get a boner ever again. You are the worst piece of shit I've ever had the misfortune of looking at. And you don't serve Montanans. You serve your own private interests. All that you have done since you've gotten into power is do shit for yourself. God forbid that you ever meet me on the streets, because I will make you regret it. Fuck you. I hope you die.
Now, if that wasn't a message sent from the heartfelt, loving, nonviolent leftist, you know what I say? In lieu of what occurred with Jay Jones tonight, I think she should run for Democrat politics, because clearly she would win. Now, that having been said, let's add Mike Fitzpatrick to the bar. And we are here in the saloon with the unctuous Michael Fitzpatrick, he of cybersecurity fame, and to all the people who are in the chat room tonight. And look, I have 39 comments already. Wait, I'm pointing the right direction. I have cheated. Look over here in the lower right corner, folks. I have cheated by throwing people's comments in there, whereas before I had to comment. Just, I'm not stopping anybody's comments. It's just right down there. Live comments, 42 comments right now. So,
well, I'll get rid of the YouTube channel that I've got running over here so I can see the comments.
Oh, okay.
No, that's a nice feature right there.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing is, I just discovered I went on. God, Mike, you're going to be so proud of me. So proud of me. How proud of me? So proud out of me. Proud out of me?
Here we go.
There we go.
And the record's 11. I'm going for 12.
I just dinged myself. What the hell? Anyway, StreamYard apparently has something new now called the teleprompter, where if you want to read something, it puts up some kind of a teleprompter effect on the screen or site. I don't know how it works, quite frankly, but you would be proud of me because I signed up for a Friday call. Number one, it's Zoom. That's a challenge in and of itself for me. And number two, I'm going to try to learn how to do the teleprompter and a bunch of other things that StreamYard says that they can do. So also,
very cool.
To the people that are in chat, if I'm not mistaken, I saw The Phantom. I saw Unpleasant Blind Guy. I saw Mission Ready Men. I saw Earl Jackson. I saw Sean Lewis. I apologize most apologetically if I may have left anyone out, but see, I don't censor stuff. Your comments are going up live and direct right here in the show. So anyway, Mike Fitzpatrick, when I get sort of a backup of stuff with regard to cybersecurity, and Mike and I will text or messenger back and forth about certain things, and or I'll, because this is who I am, I'll ask him a question and say, hey, I just saw this about AI or cybersecurity. And then when I get enough stuff that I think is sufficient to enable a show, then I text Mike or I give him a call and I say, hey, I think I got enough stuff to make a program that might be very interesting for a lot of people. And we have reached that point right now. So as I indicated to Mike beforehand, by the way, I have lots of questions.
And we never get past 3 or maybe 4.
And yes. And let me go ahead here because I have now you can see all the tabs that I have up here. And that's a lot.
Looks like the book the other night.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of tabs, oh my God. Wait until you guys.
That was like Neil's book.
Yeah.
How many tabs did you actually have? I lost count.
Last Thursday night, I spoke to Neil Mammon. And you got to watch that show. Go back to the SHR Media YouTube channel and or Rumble, the SHR Rumble channel under BZ Saloon, and watch the show with regard to Neil Mammon. And I read his book. I bought his book, and we talked about his book, how to try to see if we can fix race relations in the United States. And it didn't really go anywhere that I thought it was going to go. It was a great time. It was had by all. And a lot of really smart things that Neil happened to say at that time. So tonight, I have this. I have questions, and let me start. Let me take this off here so I can just chat with Mike right now. I want to start with some of the basics, if we can. Are you seeing, or what are you seeing, I should say, about any current trends in hacking, Mike Fitzpatrick? Oh, geez.
It's great to see you, BZ. I'm excited to be back with you again today.
Uppercut. Sorry. I should have asked you, Mike Fitzpatrick. Tell people a little bit about you. Tell them who you are, what you do, and what company you represent, and what that company does. Please.
Go. All right. So I'm Mike Fitzpatrick, founder and CEO of NCX Group. NCX Group is a cyber risk management consulting firm, and we specialize in cybersecurity, business continuity, incident response, and we provide managed security services. A lot of what we're doing and going into the new year is going to be surrounded and based on cyber due diligence for transactions. There's a massive wave of boomers and Xers that are going to be selling their businesses over the next 10 years. Somewhere in the neighborhood of about 12 million businesses will transact during that time, and we're going to specialize in that.
And so you should totally expect this. And I looked at your text because we texted back and forth.
Mhm.
And one of the things that you did mention in passing was the fact that you were going to start picking up due diligence on this. So I can put this on the screen and I can read
Wherever
the
you want to
headline.
go. You asked me what I do and where we're going and what we do. So
Exactly.
I did
But
that.
see, what I'm saying is that I can put this up on the screen. I can look at the headline. I can begin to get a paragraph or two into that. And by the first 0.75 paragraphs, I'm lost. Okay.
Well-
So if you can explain to folks what cybersecurity business
So
due
what cyber risk
diligence
due diligence is.
is.
There we go. All right. So cyber risk due diligence, and cyber risk is really an expanded field beyond cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is more of a technical endeavor these days, more of a technology play these days, rather than the business risk and the financial risk that cyber risk is, because it's all encompassing. Matter of fact, who is it? Allianz Insurance has named cyber risk the number one business risk there is today. It is top of the charts. And I mean, it is far and away ahead of everything else that's out there that will cripple your business. So,
Okay, but I mean,
Go ahead.
Joe Cholo's laundry just down the street, does he have to worry about that?
well, if Joe wants to sell his business, probably sometime in the next 3 years, it's going to be a thing. So because the buyers of said business don't want to buy your liabilities that come up from a cyber issue standpoint. Have you been through a ransomware event? Have you had a breach? Can you prove that you haven't had a ransomware event or a breach? Have you ever conducted a cybersecurity assessment? And the reality is, there's millions of what are called SMEs, small to mid-size enterprises out there.
Okay.
80% of them, BZ, have never conducted a cybersecurity assessment. 80%.
According to what you've told me over the years that I've had you on the show,
Yeah.
I am completely in line with this. Some of the people, a small business, sure, I would understand that. But you've said that, and you will never name your clients. I grok
Right.
that concept. But you have said medium to big old hanging businesses, a number of them still don't get it.
There's construction companies. Construction companies and law practices are at the top of the ransomware food chain these days. And so there's a number of construction companies that don't think, as an example, that cyber and securing their environment for cyber is an important thing, because they believe they're a construction company and not a technology company that does construction. You can't run a construction company these days without technology. And if the technology stops and it's been hit with ransomware, and the ransomware stuff usually will last 22 to 24 days of disruption. So how do you function? and it's going to cost you $5 to $10 million by the time it's over with. And that's not the ransomware. That's not the ransom. That's just the business disruption costs. So it's a real,
or the costs to fix, repair.
well, no, that isn't even included in that. That is
That's my point. Yeah, that's aside from that.
yeah. So it is, and I mean, the other side of it is that, for the last 10 years, what is it? 62% of businesses in the US had a cyber event of some kind. And of that 62%, 66% are out of business within 6 months. Now, that's from the insurance companies, that's from the Ponemon Institute. But BZ, that number jumped last year. That number jumped from 62 to 74%. And the driver, say it with me, AI.
Well, you would expect that I have AI questions tonight about that.
Yep.
But would it be, listen to me, but wouldn't it be logical to assume that AI from this point on is going to assume itself a huge portion of problems with regard to businesses or anything digital?
Well, it's gonna create problems. It's gonna add to the problems. You've got a lot of businesses now that are running to AI, because I mean, there are certain aspects of artificial intelligence that are incredibly beneficial and time saving in the day-to-day operations of a business today. But the problem is they're going to it and they really don't have any guardrails in place because they haven't built a cybersecurity program within the organization. And best advice is don't touch AI until you have figured out how to secure your environment. Because if you just give AI a free pass, that intellectual property that might be your secret sauce for what you do ends up in an AI model now because somebody slipped and used ChatGPT or Grok to flush out an idea, and they did it with the actual IP. Now it's out in the wild. It's no longer yours.
I've been thinking about this for a while, as far as my meager little brain can percolate around these things. How can a small to a medium business begin to remotely navigate the AI, the torturous waters and rapids of AI? And that, oddly enough, folks, is where I'm going to have to pause right now because we're going to have to take a break. And let me give you a bit of foreshadowing, if I might. After the break, when we come back, I'm going to ask Mike Fitzpatrick that question. He is, wait a minute, pointing the wrong way. He is Mike Fitzpatrick of NCX Group right here, as it says. And also when we come back, I've been looking at the chat as I'm just such a negative Nelly, but I said some things would happen and I'm going to go over some election results. It was not a fabulous night. And also, it looks like at this point in California or I call it, I think I'm going to call it now, Califailure, always spelled it with a K. And apparently Proposition 50 to gerrymander the crap out of everything in the state possible. Because the interesting point about California, Califailure, damn it, Jim, is that it's already gerrymandered to the point that Democrats have a supermajority. After this, if they enable it, the Democrats will have a super majority. We'll see where it goes. It'll probably go through a court somewhere. It'll trickle and filter, and we'll see how that goes. Assumptions are that potentially Republicans could have a massive 7% of califailure. Wow, just massive. What a possibility. What a great thing. I'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log. Intrigue. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wonder is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, bends time, or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I'm back. I'm BZ. I'm all about the late night show. And you can watch us on the SHR Media YouTube channel. At last count, I believe we have 667 subscriptions. So yay, yowza for that. My guest tonight is Mike FITZPATRICK, and as I indicated just before the break, speaking of break, with luck, you have your own magical enjoyment right here. My own very liquid refreshment is here. Clear water. Cool, clear water. And if you believe that. Anyway. SHR Media cooked this thing up, and let's add it to the stage. We're going to talk about some of the things that did occur in the election, and I'll tell you what. Let's add Mike FITZPATRICK to this too. So if you want to weigh in or talk about some of these things, some of the big races are already in, and a lot of things have already been called. If you want to see what's going on, you can go to the SHR Media channel, not channel, the website, shrmedia.com, shrmedia.com, and you'll see Election Day 2025. And if you go ahead and scroll through that, you can see in this race, For Virginia governor, it went to Spanberger. There's the check mark right there. And for New Jersey governor, well, it's not exactly called. Oh, wait, no, I do. I think it is called yet. It's Mikey Sherrill was called. And in New York City mayor, let's just say it really didn't go all that well. But I will say this. The interesting point is that the Dems have hit a 55% unfavorable margin. Now, upon first glance, looking at a lot of these things, you'd be surmising, well, this really doesn't. This is not going to go well for the Democrats, except that it went well for the Democrats. And this was a great meme because New York City already decided, yeah, we are going to go for the lying, Takia-loving, racist, anti-Semitic, anti-American Muzzy who loves everyone, very glib, speaks very well, but we are going to try. Apparently, we're going to try socialism. And let's be honest, I always say there's a great deal to be said about honesty. If you're talking socialism, truly, ultimately, you're talking about communism. So that's where this socialism is just one little step where you may step on a toadstool or maybe a frond in a pond. And then the next step from socialism is true out and out communism. And as I indicated, it really went well for Venezuela. In 1992, they were essentially the third richest country. And then they started consuming zoo animals because that's what you do. And 150 million people culled from the planet by essentially communism / socialism, primarily the same thing. Apparently we're not having a problem with that. Now we're going to go over and talk to, and I also said, and I saw in chat that Fox News, I'm looking over here at my TV, Fox News just called Prop 50 for Califailure, always spelled with a K. So that passed. So instead of a supermajority, now Califailure, always spelled with a K, gets to be a super majority. That's a wonderful thing. But you also look at this, and I think these are the people that are going to be ruling, because we're dealing with evil men. An evil man will burn his own nation to the ground just to rule over the ashes. And every little tin pot dictator or individual like Kami Mendani seems to believe that they have the innate prescient ability to do communism and do socialism better than the last guy, which just seems most passing strange to me. Very, very strange. And now that Mike Fitzpatrick is here, I found this the other day, and I thought, I understand the concept behind this meme, but I'll put it up on the overlay right now, and I'll explain it to Mike Fitzpatrick and then ask him if he sees anything different than what I see here. Frank Herbert wrote Dune. I purchased that book in an Ace paperback back in 1965, one of what I consider to be the finest science fiction novels ever written. And he addresses AI. And they had a machine war in this universe. And he said, once men turned their thinking over to machines in the hope that they would set them free, but that only permitted other men with machines to enslave them. Now, to me, what that means is that how we're seeing AI and how it's learning and how it's being programmed began with men, and then now is being turned over to the machines themselves, which beggars the question, do we have control over AI? And was it not men who initially instigated the programming? And isn't that the result? Isn't that what we're seeing now? The results we're seeing now. Boy, that was long, Mike. I don't know if that's like I asked, I think 75.2 questions in the last, say, 2 minutes, and I expect you to handle them all. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, let's see. So man and machine and interesting book you should maybe look at along the lines of that question. Homo Deus is the name of the book.
I have a copy of that. Yes.
So Homo Deus is written by the number 2 guy at the World Economic Forum, the transhumanist death cult. That wants to rule the world and completely re-engineer the world and everything in it. So it's an interesting read, and just to from a Sun Tzu standpoint, understand your enemy and understand what they believe and what they think. And as I tell my 25-year-old son, don't pay attention to the disturbance over here. You have to understand the game that's being played. If you haven't read the original content of UN Agenda 21 or UN Agenda 2030, or have read everything related to the World Economic Forum and what the relationship is between where Trump's wanting to go and what the past 100 years have been in relationship to a British system, then you don't understand the game that is actually being played. You have to understand the game that they're playing and not get wrapped up in the sideshow, is what I've tried to explain to my son. You got to be smarter than the people that are showing you this while they're doing this over here. It's just a magic trick. So you have to understand the game that's being played. First and foremost, AI figures into that in a lot of ways, and I have warned about AI now for better part of 10 years.
That's rather significant.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have ethics, and where I started to get concerned about it is understanding the folks in technology, where they really follow this whole school of thought of just because I can, I should. And so their ethics doesn't enter into the equation. The building something cool far outweighs the ethical consequence of building something cool. Does that make sense, BZ?
Yes, and I have 3 examples. Number 1 is the paper clips from Germany. People don't believe me when I say this, but I've read numerous books specifically about the paper clips, also about Werner von Braun, also about Hans von Ohain.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I came from that is, they're Nazi, they're Nazi nationalists. Quite frankly, no, they didn't give one rotten little shit about Nazi politics. They just wanted to conduct their experiments and build cool shit like rockets and planes and jet engines. That absolutely fascinated them. Example number 1. Example number 2 is my brother, who is smart as a whip, culturally, I won't even go there. He's my brother, but he's an engineer. Okay. He's a science dude. He's a geek. He helped with Iranian money. Some people came from Iran following the revolution and brought all their wealth with them and used him as the engineering prowess to create a company that created controllers for elevators, MCI, in Rancho Cordova. And they went from 5 employees to, I think they've got 300 or 400 employees now. And then they bought him out. he lives high on the hog. He does very well. But he's a guy who was an engineer because he wanted to be an engineer, because in his brain, that was the cool shit that really invigorated him. Just like with the paper clips. Third example is Gerald Bull. Gerald Bull was a Canadian, if I'm not mistaken, who decided that he wanted to create the longest gun in the world, which could be used to fire projectiles into other nations, like the largest artillery piece you could possibly feature. He also, in all sorts of numerous drawings, he also thought, well, I think I can create this gun which will launch people into orbit around the planet. And then the United States wasn't interested. Nobody else was interested, but Saddam Hussein was interested. Gerald Bull didn't give a shit who he worked for to enable his big gun. He couldn't have cared less about the politics of it all. And he was on the cusp of being successful until he was executed by the Mossad. And I sense, as you indicate, that this is just like the people from AI who designed and pushed this. It's like hashtag because they could.
Well, I mean, AI's been around a while in various forms. I mean, one of the first ones out was IBM's Watson. And Watson is not like Grok, and it's not like ChatGPT or even the agents that are out there now. Watson has been used for solving big problems in healthcare and medicine and other areas like that. It's not the kind of thing that the average person is going to get their hands on. The whole technocratic movement of 100 years ago is kind of we're in a revitalization process of that particular school of thought from 100 years ago right now. And so everything's relying on the machines and what the machines say and what AI says. And one of the things I was concerned about 5 years ago is that people would actually utilize AI as a referee in some discussion in social media. I see that all the time now. And most of the time AI is wrong. I mean, you really have to pin it down. You have to make it actually go, okay, you're right. So, don't use it to referee your battles. Go find the research, do the research, use your mind.
See, and that's the thing that you had pointed out and that I had pointed out to you in terms of, and we were talking back and forth because we usually do that text or whatever. And I said, you know what I've noticed recently is when I do a Google search, AI steps its big fat nose in and gives me a bunch of crap off the top that I couldn't care less about. And every time I ask something by way of Google and AI inserts itself, it's nothing but leftist crap. And it assumes that I'm going to A, buy this, and B, the nature in which it's crafted, its words are formed, indicate that I'm a bad guy by even asking the question. So to me, this is all screaming, oh my God, this is such leftist crap. Then you responded. And this is when I have to refer to this because I had to write some notes. I said, Google AI is just super damn biased. And then you posited, okay, what about the validity and the accuracy of Grok and ChatGPT? You mentioned something about the accuracy of ChatGPT and Grok, and I don't think it was positive.
Well, so you have the hallucinations, you have, the error rate is somewhere between 10 and 15% as far as just normal stuff out of Grok and ChatGPT, because I think that's what most people really use. I have attempted to use Gemini, the Google platform, a few times. It's such a lost cause, as far as the responses that you get, the quality of the response. Personally, I think the worst one out there is Microsoft's Copilot. I mean, it goes with your app. So if you're using Microsoft Office platform or Office 365, it's built into it. But it really doesn't do anything. It's such a waste of time at this point. So I digress. But to answer the question, as far as I've been using AI BZ now for almost 5 years, I think.
Okay.
There was a bias shift that I actually saw on a Friday afternoon at about 2:00 in the afternoon.
Not to be specific or anything.
Not to be specific about it. I'm really good with pattern recognition, and so it's one of these things where the answers started changing, the language changed, and the center of the road that it was actually in shifted vastly to the left. So much so, one of the experiments that I actually ran was socialism, communism versus capitalism. Before that shift, it actually defended capitalism. It defended our system as the best way. After the shift, it defended Marxism and socialism as the right way to run a country.
But see, the first thing that I think of when you say that, though, I hate to interrupt. No, I don't really. But wouldn't it be logical to think or assume that when somebody who is a non-digital guy like me, or maybe any number of people, you can tell me, when they source information from AI or Google or Grok, aren't the bulk of the people simply assuming this must be true because AI says it?
Yes.
But that's not true.
But again, people don't read. They don't think for themselves. They go with what the crowd tells them, right? I mean, it's the Borg. Pardon my Star Trek reference.
Well, the other thing that I noticed in I happened to write this down also, is you said that you will never use an AI browser. And that leads to another question, but let me hit that if I can first. You wouldn't use an AI browser, Mike Fitzpatrick, founder and CEO of NCX Group, because...
Well, I'll give you, for instance, I actually wrote an article about this on LinkedIn. I think it was about a week ago. There's an AI platform that advertises all the time on YouTube, and it's called Motion. And Motion, what it does is it manages your calendar. It sets appointments for you. It shifts your schedule, all kinds of really cool stuff for really busy people. Just one problem. Somebody hacked the AI that's behind it, changed a line of code. All the emails that got sent to manage your schedule and your calendar and all of that, it just sent a BCC to somebody else. Because the agents act on your behalf. They act in your stead. They are not looking for permission. So it's now got this one extra line of code that now sends a BCC of all of your activity, a blind copy, to somewhere. And this was found about a week ago. Some of the new stuff that's happening now is, and I've seen it real time this week, even with my own calendar, is these attempted phishing attacks now that are coming through his calendar invites. I must have seen 15 of them.
Phishing through a calendar.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
God.
Yeah, I think I've seen 15 of them so far this week.
But that beggars the question again. If it's digital, what can you trust? anything?
You know, I'm gonna. This was
Because you're the man when it comes to this.
so you have to trust and verify. You can't believe it all on face value, right? My dad used to say, Mike, believe none of what you read and only half of what you actually see. He said that to me from the time I was little. I mean, going back into the 70s, right? That came out of his mouth like on a regular basis. That's even more true now, BZ. I mean, you can't really even believe what you see because the deep fakes and how AI has manipulated video and what can be done with, somebody's appearance or their voice or whatever it might be, right? I mean,
The videos I play here at the beginning of every show.
Yeah. I mean, the song I think we ought to try a WAV file instead of that, the MP3 file on that. But so it can be manipulated. So you have to actually understand why this is important. This is also important with something else we're going to talk about later, and that's Flock and all the video that is potentially coming in through it. And I had a friend say when I posted this on my Facebook, my personal Facebook, he said, Mike, if I'm not doing anything wrong, why do I care? I said, I'm going, have you not seen some of the television shows that actually point to the fact that they take the video and the data and they make it be whatever they want it to be? Yeah, you need to care. So as far as AI is concerned, and my son said this, and when we were talking about a couple of things related to a school project that I've got going on and a couple of things I was asking him about. And he goes, Dad, he said, after about age 5, I don't remember a time in my life where there wasn't the internet.
Right.
I don't remember a time in my life where there wasn't the internet. He said, you're going to have 5-year-olds now that will never know a world without AI.
See, to me, this beggars so many questions, so many incredible questions. And the reason I opened it up with just a few comments, I mean, we haven't even gotten into the, I doubt all.
You never do. We just go.
I thought, okay, here's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go on the carousel of amusing GURP, and then I'm going to show some cool videos. Then I'm going to talk to Mike, and then we're going to talk about the election. Then I'm going to come back to Mike. Then we're going to talk about all the questions that I have for him right here. And then I'm going to put up some stories. No, I'm not going to get to that. I'm not going to get to the election, folks. If you think I'm going to get to the election, that's not going to happen. It'll happen Thursday because I hope to have a roundtable discussion of what the hell happened on Tuesday. What the hell? That'll be on Thursday. But for now, one of the things, and I can't wait until you get to Flock when we come back after the break. You said you're not going to use.
But before you go to the question,
okay,
let's poll the audience.
Okay,
and no cheating, audience.
Okay,
just go. How many of you have heard of a company called Flock Safety? No searching, no AI. How many of you have heard of it? Go ahead, BZ.
I can't be relied upon to not cheat because you and I had already discussed this.
Well,
Absolutely,
exempting you. I'm asking the folks out there in the chat.
Okay, Sean says no. When you hear how this is all linked up and what this means, once again, it's one of those things where, when you understand the linkage, the linkulus to all of this, there's only one conclusion to make. And that's that. It's as simple as that. What do I have? I'm 1 minute late. Okay. Tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to take Mike off the stage right here. I'm going to move this back a little bit. And I'm going to say, folks, if you like cybersecurity stuff, and Mike Fitzpatrick is pretty much the only guy that can begin to describe things that of which I have no ken whatsoever. And he comes through with me again and again and attempts to dumb it down for me as much as possible. That's why I like to have Mike on, but I've got a whole bunch of questions to ask. And one of them is, Mike, why won't you use AI as a browser? Okay, if you're not going to use AI, then what are you going to use as a browser? And then you even made mention of the fact of, wait, if I go through AI, does that mean that it's harvesting shit off my computer?
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, one man stands alone, attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. You have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right. You can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops into my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I'm BZ. I'm back. My guest tonight is Mike Fitzpatrick, and I'm glad that you are here. Now, live, KLRN is not carrying me live, you bastards. However, they will be carrying me, so I'm speaking to the future you and the future me in the future, because today is Tuesday and the future is Wednesday. Tomorrow never comes. By the way, if you've never heard that song by the sensational Alex Harvey Band, you need to. You should listen to the sensational Alex Harvey Band. Anyway, so I am here tonight. I'm talking to Mike Fitzpatrick, my cybersecurity expert. We're talking about all things digital, and we're also talking about AI, and I had a list of questions for him, and I have tons of stories to go into here. So what I asked before the break, and by the way, shit. Okay, point the right direction. This is Mike Fitzpatrick, one each over here. And I said before the break, you said that you would not use an AI browser. And then you had mentioned in a text to me, you said that because you believe that that's harvesting info, AI is harvesting information from your computer by accessing it. Have I got that right?
So you now are starting to see AI browsers, which are applications that reside on your computer. Because it resides on your computer, it now has to have access to the resources of your computer. You with me so far?
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of times, you'll see pop-ups that come up that will say, for example, I'll use Brave as for instance, the browser that I use. So Brave will say, well, Brave would like to have access to your network to identify different devices on said network. The answer is a hard no. I'm sorry, Mr. Browser, you don't need to have any idea of what I have on the other side of this. Well, AI and the application of an AI browser creates an attack vector that is there either a prompt attack or an application attack.
Did you say cock vector?
No, application vector,
Okay.
attack vector. So with the AI, with the AI and the application on your computer, it provides an attack vector to be exploited. So with a traditional browser, you use Brave or Google or Chrome or Safari, whatever you use. You go to the site and you engage with the site. You get the information that you want, and the application, the AI, does not have direct connectivity to your computer. Whereas if you're using Comet or you're using Atlas, in its setting on your computer, and it is an application on your computer, it has access to everything on said computer.
Okay. As I was listening, my brain, as meager as it is,
so where did I lose you?
Was processing. Well, it wasn't in terms of loss. It was in terms of, this is so overwhelming. I'm looking at Mom Donnie up there. Is Zoran for New York City? He's celebrating. But the questions I had were, as I was listening to you, okay. So if a smart person, not like me, wants to use, what does a person use as a browser? If you have questions, where do you go? Do you go to Google? Do you go to AI? Is there any place or any instrument or program sufficiently safe to not screw you over in the process and or provide some of the most truthful information that it can? So if you can't use AI and you can't, yeah, it's just, where do you go? I have
Okay,
questions.
so
Where do I go?
one, all search is going to become AI. Traditional search is dead. It is absolutely dead. Number two, if you use the browser that you're using now, you are safer than using an application that is a browser for AI. For example, with Atlas or with Comet, if you're using Brave or you're using Chrome, and yes, the back end of Brave is Chromium, but there are stopgaps in place to allow things to get away from you and protect your privacy that are in Brave that are not in Chrome. So from that perspective, you're using a traditional browser, you have more control than you do of an AI browser. An AI browser is an active participant in what you are looking at on your screen, meaning it goes through and summarizes. If you need something filled out, it will go through and fill it out. It is an active participant and an assistant to you. Now, if you want that, vaya con Dios.
Okay, I get that. Well,
So
some people in chat are saying, I won't use Brave because it has, Chrome.
Yeah, it's Chrome on the back end. Yeah.
On the back end. UBG says, I use Firefox. The only Atlas I use is a 100-ton weapon platform.
Yeah,
Now,
no, I mean, I think Brave is a great platform. Really support it because the guy that created Brave is the actual founder of Mozilla and Firefox. He lost his company because he stood up for traditional marriage. So I'm using his.
Jesus.
And I had a lot of friends that worked at that company that went down the tubes because of wokeness.
And which company again?
Mozilla. Firefox.
So if
he was the founder, of Firefox.
Occasionally I use Firefox. And I'm attempting as best my meager little brain can to suss out something that is as truthful and as safe as possible. You're indicating that apparently is not Firefox.
I prefer Brave because of the privacy controls that it has.
Okay. And I'm guessing, correct me, DuckDuckGo has a Chrome.
Yeah, I think it's
in the back somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's a Chrome backend, but they now have their own browser. They used to just be search, but now they've gone into browsers, and so
so DuckDuckGo is not necessarily shifting itself through Google anymore.
Sure it is. DuckDuckGo still goes through Google. It's anonymized so that Google cannot tell who is searching.
Okay, but it still goes through that.
To Google.
Of all the, let me break it down this way. Of all the browsers in which to search, one of the best would be Brave. And then if I wanted to, first, the question, should I want to search using AI as a browser?
Okay, I think you're getting caught up in
probably whatever it is.
Yeah, you're getting caught up in verbiage. So you have your traditional browser like you're using now, whichever one that is, that you can go and access AI to do search. That's not a problem. There are AI specific browsers built by the AI companies, one being Perplexity, the other being ChatGPT. And I believe probably Google will have one too. That are new applications, new types of browsers that sit on your computer as an application. Those I stay away with a 10-foot pole.
Any application involving AI to be placed on your computer.
So again, a lot of the applications now have some AI in it. So if we're talking about ChatGPT or specifically Grok or specifically Gemini, which all have some type of browser or possible browser associated with it. So we have to wait and see what Apple does, because they're well behind the curve on AI into Apple product. So at one point it was thought it was going to be a ChatGPT that was going to be in Apple product. Now it appears that it's going to be Google in Apple product, which I'm not crazy about. So we'll have to see where that goes. But there's two different categories, and I don't want to interject a third in there, but there is something called a browser proxy. So it uses and isolates your computer and your browser from bad stuff out there. And it's, so the world doesn't really know it's you, and you're able to hide behind a fake browser. It's maybe the best way to describe it. Does that make sense to you?
To a degree. But I'm not going to push things, because I know when not to talk to the hand. Don't talk to BZ's hand. It's all BZ's hand does is go me, 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 and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Let me go through some articles. Now, I've covered most of the things here to extract what I think is probably the most important things out of what you've said so far. Is Brave is not a bad browser to use. People have all their preferences.
Yeah.
If I'm just a Mark 1 Model 1 moron and I decide that I have questions, or if, let's say, for example, I want to craft an outline for the things that I want to talk about on the show, I would be fairly assured that I could go to, say, Grok or ChatGPT, and they would be able to construct these things for me.
Well, they're not necessarily. I don't know that I would use it to build perhaps an outline for a show, because it's going to go probably way off of where you would want to go with the show. It's not a word processor. That's not what they're for. You can write articles with them. It does take some time. Use it for primarily research, in putting together the articles that I do. Again, how people use it is interesting to me. Most people use it as a search. It is at the top of the list for search now, because the search can be specific. It can be specific to what you're looking for. It'll go out, on the research side, it'll go out. I've seen it do 180 different sites all simultaneously, all at the same time. But what you have to be concerned about is the crap it pulls from Reddit and some of these other shit sites that are out there. You got to be careful of the data that it pulls in. Sometimes it pulls stuff that is way to the left, and you have to say, wait a minute, this search that you've done and the information that you've gathered is not center. You need to come back with a better search and a more balanced search. And it will do that.
That's what I'm getting from, say, Google.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe I'm not.
You just need to tell it. That is a leftist search. You just need to tell it. That's a leftist search. I need something more center of the road or center right and make it go do it again.
Okay. All right. You know,
but this is why I don't use Google. Everything you're going to get out of Google is going to be left, way left.
If that was the center focal point of why you and I are speaking today, is anytime that I'm doing a search and when I get returns, I notice that their AI is always at the top.
Yeah.
And then it says read more. And then that's when I get all the political crap that I just screw that. I just search, go down and try to find articles, evidence, etc. to fulfill my query. God, this is so complicated. Let me throw this out. You're a man, you're an individual whose job revolves, and you make a good job at it, a good wage at it. You're smart as hell, and it's going places you hadn't seen. So let's say in 5 years, will we even be able to make any kind of a query and count on the returns being truthful? In other words, GIGO, garbage in, garbage out.
Mm-hmm.
Who's feeding the garbage? What's it learning off of?
Mm-hmm.
And then that gets into, well, let me start with some of the stories that I have. This I found astounding. And maybe because you're in the business, you can give me the information about this. NVIDIA is now the first company ever to be valued at $5 trillion, fueled by the AI boom. When NVIDIA, correct me if I'm wrong, what they initially did is they made boards for gamers.
Yeah, video cards.
And video cards and maybe chipsets. And now they're doing AI. Now, the question with regard to this guy here, what's his name? Jensen Huang, something like that, is he wanted to sell these cards to China, and he thought that was an excellent idea. And now Mike Fitzpatrick, he's doing it. He's not doing it. It seems to me that if as he's saying, we're number one right now in AI, and one of the biggest reasons that we are is because of him and the cards and the chips that he's created, why would we want to sell this to China or our enemies, or are we?
Well, I mean, every technology company is in the business of selling what they do globally. That's what they do. But there's also restrictions. The ITAR standards is what it is, I believe, that doesn't allow us to sell technology to our enemies. So the new chips that have come out from NVIDIA, the Blackwell chips, are probably on that list, and they're not going to be sold to China. So it's going to be interesting to see where it all goes. I saw a story today comparing the peak of the .com era to the peak of where we are right now with AI.
Okay.
So from a stock standpoint, a valuation standpoint, that kind of thing. So it's all moving very fast. It's all overheated. We still haven't really figured out how we're going to use it and how actually accurate it is at the end of the day. There's still some concern about that. I think, probably, Elon is saying in the next 6 months, year, Grok is going to be about 60% of AGI, of artificial general intelligence, which is a massive step. The next step after that is ASI. And so, we start getting into the area where we're just pets and it's the boss. The problem is Pandora's box is open and there's no getting it all back in.
You can't stuff that genie back in the bottle.
No, it's the next arms race, BZ. It absolutely is. But unless we start figuring out how to produce more energy and how to build more ways to produce electricity to keep up with how China is producing electricity, it isn't going to matter.
It's interesting because my county where I live, Kootenai County in Idaho, has said that we do not have the resources, nor will we have the inclination to have any AI in our county at all. It chews up resources. It chews up electricity. We don't have enough of it. It sucks down water like no one's business for cooling, etc. And we're not going there. And at first blush, I'm thinking, yay, that's a great, great, great decision, NIMBY. But then you have to ask yourself, okay, if we're not producing, we should all be running up, in my opinion, nuclear reactors, thorium. But if we're not producing this, then yeah, like you say, it is an arms race that we will possibly lose. In the meantime, I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
No, I was, as far as the nuclear thing is concerned, have you seen this this stuff out there, the mini nuclear reactors?
Are those the ones that are portable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really interesting technology. Really interesting in comparison to putting solar or wind or something stupid like that in.
And they're thinking of making them portable because of the fact that if you have a tsunami coming, or if you know that you're having a possible series of earthquakes coming, or if you're having some weather or a hurricane, you can move them. Is that?
Well, no, I mean, the fact that they're portable is they can move them into an area, set it up, and get you on the grid, so to speak, quickly. I mean, it's a self-contained unit. I'll find it and I'll send it to you so you can take a look at it. But it's really kind of interesting technology. They're about to get approved, from what I understand, and it's an investment opportunity. So it's kind of interesting what they're doing there. But we're going to have to look at something like nuclear to generate the power that's going to be needed. Otherwise, we're just not going to get there.
No, well, leftist states, blue states, are doing their level best to make sure that we don't have any power, because we're discovering that all this green power is full of bullshit, as in Solyndra, as in the people whose names I cannot recall that were manufacturing the wind farms off the coast. They're discovering that that's not reliable.
Yeah.
And that Germany is now regressing in terms of electric production. They've decided that, well, this renewable stuff is not, we're going to go back to coal-fired power plants, that sort of thing.
They're dropping in nuclear. They're going back to nuclear.
Going back to nukes, exactly. And I think France is going to do the exact same thing as well.
Yep.
This beggars another question as well. Now you have a Politico, Marsha Blackburn, who had AI label her a sex predator. Well, if there's a suit coming on something like this, and you know for a factorious that someone probably is not, which would include her, this is the kind of thing that can do damage and can escape and can get around the world 30 times before you lift your spoon of cornflakes to your mouth. And how is it that we can combat this, or can it be?
Well, I mean, as we talked about before, it really gets into the fact that AI, with its access to the internet now, is really nothing more than a data aggregator at the core of it, right? That can act upon the data that it finds, the research data that it brings back. But as I said, I mean, if it's finding something out on Reddit and seeing it as gospel, then garbage in, garbage out. Um, One of the questions from the chat that I saw that I wanted to answer real quick. It was something BZ about Siri and um, Amazon, and I think those kinds of things was the question as far as security. I'm not seeing. Oh, here it is. Mike, what about it's from Unpleasant Blind Guy? Mike, what about Siri and Alexa? I would assume security related. I don't have Alexa or Google Home in my house. And Siri's, she's not very bright. so so yeah, I don't use Google Home and I don't use Alexa in the house.
Okay, well, I'm past the point where I would normally be playing a break. I just want to remind everybody of this, however.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Let us continue with this. Now, we had that issue with Marsha Blackburn. Then there's this with Robbie Starbuck. And when you sue Google for this, that would seem to me to be extremely difficult to prove. But again, this is a breaking technology along with a breaking societal aspect that nobody has any idea of what we're going to do with it. And since we've only got 27 minutes left, roughly, I want to get to the meat of the matter, if we will, because you brought this to my attention. And this came from, well, let me just put this up on stage. This is from Mike Fitzpatrick and Facebook, and this is his post on October 30th. And I'll read it, and then I'll let you explain. I have a couple of videos to play if necessary. They're kind of long. I'm not sure that I have the wherewithal to play them, but I'm sure that you can explain it. And Mike says in Facebook, and by the way, if you're on Facebook, follow him. Give Mike a good follow. And also, Mike is on X. Mike, you're on X at
NCX CEO, and then business-wise is NCX Group. And then I'm on LinkedIn. Usually, my Facebook is for me and my friends that I went to high school with, MBZ.
But on the other hand, you brought this to my attention, and it, again, brain blown when I read this, and perhaps you can explain. The reason I wanted to link this is because we are having an issue in our county of LPR technology. And I had an argument probably 15 to 20 years ago with a company whose name I don't even recall anymore, making ridiculous claims about LPR, most of them revolving around, and we'll never sell your information, and we'll never give it out to anybody, and it'll never be shared, and then you're a lying sack of shit, because I know that's the nature of humanity. You wrote, as many of you are aware, I work in cybersecurity. I take privacy seriously, and I make it a priority in life as much as possible. The amount of data collected by large tech companies is staggering. Yeah, I mean you, Meta, Google, and Amazon. So several years ago, I saw cameras being installed around Marietta and started investigating the company that was installing them, what they do and what they gather. Well, they belong to a company called Flock Safety. Remember that. Flock Safety. Flock provides surveillance capabilities to the local governments. Everything from license plate reading to gunshot triangulation. They're used all through this area, and most people in our community are completely unaware of them. Flock now has partnered with Amazon Ring, and Ring Amazon will provide doorbell camera video to law enforcement, apparently without a warrant or cause. And then you have a video, which I don't believe I have enough time to go into right now. But with this, the issue currently, and people are saying, there are some people that say, well, you know, my stuff is already out on the internet. So far, what difference does it make? It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. So who cares? And then there are other people that are saying the ultimate goal of this is to make sure that you are trapped, that you are tracked, that everything about you is possibly known. And then when that happens, you are even more so the product than you are with social media, because the money behind this, like social media, is potentially just staggering. Having said that, Mike Fitzpatrick, what piqued your interest on this? What did you discover, and what do you think is going to happen in the future?
Okay, so let's start with Flock. I mean, when Flock first started, when I first started seeing it go in, and I've got one right down near the corner of my house, or the street, Main Street by my house. And when I saw this going in, I started investigating. And I'm going, okay, well, this is interesting. You know, BZ, they can actually identify what vehicle it is based upon the sound of the engine.
And that makes perfect sense, because we already have acoustic signatures in the U.S. Navy that we've had for years and years and years and years by way of sonar men, and now by computer completely, I would assume, where they can tell what kind of a submarine that they're trailing and watching. So one thing leads to another. I completely get that.
So Flock now has, I think it's over 5,000 cameras. They're in 49 states. So literally, if you take a road trip across the country and you go through their camera systems along the freeways or wherever, your license plate is popping up. And if there is a warrant or a call for that plate, they're going to send law enforcement out. The problem then becomes the AI that they use in their platform is only 10 to 15%. You know, the error rate is 10 to 15%. So with 1 billion plus captures per month, that's 100 million to 200 million errors.
See, and this is what I told the people and wrote to certain personnel about those who were absolutely mad dog slavish over LPR. Oh, well, if you don't have anything, if you're not committing a crime right now, you don't have anything to worry about. And yeah, except that the people that are making bank out of following you. And during a break and before the show, you gave me these stats, and I will give them to everyone here, particularly those who are saying, oh, LPR, that's great. You know, we're going to get more criminals, except the criminal pulled out of their car by their hair could be you, folks. And here's the stats that Mike gave me. The national error rate for LPR is 20 to 30%. So if it alerts on your plate on your car, then there's a 20 to 30% chance that you could get yanked out of that automobile on some kind of a felony warrant charge, or a car that's wanted in the commission of a crime, 288, sex with a child, etc., from, you know, whatever state you want to name. And then Flock, you said, is equal to 10 to 15%. Okay, a little bit better. Flock has a 10 to 15% error rate, but the crux of the biscuit is, as you just stated, of 1 billion hits a month, which means that in that amount of time, that's going to yield 100 million to 200 million errors per month. Or am I crazy? Mike Fitzpatrick.
I mean, that's how the math works. It is, it can't discern the difference between a B and an 8. That might be a big thing depending upon what the call is and what the warrant is that law enforcement has been, asked to act on. It might be one of the videos that I posted goes along with this is an attorney out in Dallas that shows a video of an African-American family pulled out of their car and held at gunpoint because the license plate was misread, and it was misread as a auto theft. So you don't know what you're going to get with this. The 10 to 15% accuracy is incredibly high. When you look at the numbers and the false positives that go along with that. The bigger issue that I have with this is Ring and everybody's doorbells and doorbell cams now being part of Flock's network.
Okay, so Jesus, this is me just being a curmudgeon in general. But we have a Ring camera. Mrs. BZ got a Ring camera from, I don't even remember from who, and it's immaterial. So there it is in a little package. And I thought for a while, just do what everybody else does. Almost everybody on our street has a Ring. Goo-goo. And I thought, okay, well, you know what? No, I don't think I'm going to. Sounds to me like it was a good decision. Now, Mike Fitzpatrick, how does Ring interact with Flock, and what happens then?
So if there is something of interest to local law enforcement, and as it has been explained, Flock, the law enforcement entity, could make a call to Flock. Flock could then talk to their Ring partner and say, do you have visibility in this area? And can you send us the video? There's no warrant. There's no due process in this. The other side of this is, the other way it could possibly act is Flock would send out a message to Ring camera holders in that area, asking them to submit the video. Again, now they're asking for permission, but then the question is, where does that video go? How is it used? What are the controls with it? What's the retention policy that goes along with it? How does that end up in a court case from my house and my camera angle? And I mean, it's just, it gets into the whole sense of the Constitution and due process. But yeah, that's Flock. Think of it as precog.
So if I buy a Ring camera and install it and hook up the Wi-Fi, because I get to see a little picture of somebody ringing my camera, pushing the button, how does Flock interact with that camera without my knowledge? Will I be, say, for example, solicited by law enforcement to say, we're asking for your permission to access the information on Ring? Well, if they don't ask, and Ring is Wi-Fi, correct?
Correct. I mean, you've got a couple of different things, a couple of different directions that this could go, right? Local law enforcement dealing with a situation in a neighborhood may go directly to Ring and ask for any video assistance that they can provide off of the cameras, right? I mean, so that's one way that it could happen. Another way, again, with Flock and this relationship, is Flock through Ring could ask, because law enforcement has asked for any video that you might have and access to your video. And then you grant permission for Flock to grab that video for that time period, if there is anything. But again, you start to get into questions. Is that a one-time thing? Is that now have I just given them blanket permission? Is there a written form? Are we just going off a check? There's too much unknown at this point for a privacy guy like me to be satisfied. This is a new partnership that came about 2 weeks ago, October 16th.
Wow, that's super new. See,
Yeah.
I'm the L, the little L guy for libertarian in that portion. I utilize in terms of privacy. That's where my libertarianism steps up. Smaller government, privacy, that sort of thing. Have there been incidents to your knowledge where already I think the question is, can someone zip by and simply cull the information from my ring from me and I don't know about it?
Well, what you could do is set up, and again, the hacker's mind is an interesting thing these days. You could set up a ring camera, solar powered, in an area that then joins your ring neighborhood. And now it's able to watch everything that goes on in your neighborhood. So, cameras are not bad, inherently bad. Having them part of a big company like Amazon or Meta or Cisco or some of these others that are out there, that's not necessarily the best thing. I think you can go get a camera that is, one, don't buy Chinese, because
Oh God, that's another story. Holy crap.
so don't do that, because the technology inside is going to ship it out. So buy a camera that is not part of a big company. It's kind of like the thermostats that I use over at the church. They're Honeywell. Well, Honeywell isn't going to sell out on their automated thermostats and the electronic thermostats, the smart thermostats. They're not going to sell out to a Cisco or an Amazon or a Meta or a Google, right? So I don't have to worry about that. You still get the same effect. I still get the same automation and everything else that goes along with a smart thermostat, but I don't have to worry about it ending up in the hands of a monster of a technology company. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying Honeywell isn't a monster of a technology company, but they're not,
right.
they're not as damaging as Google, Meta, and Amazon.
Well, a quick explanation is that I got a new thermostat for the house, and it too was supposed to be a smart thermostat, but I cajoled the guy into replacing it with a dumb thermostat because I don't want any of my information going anywhere other than inside my house. That being said, I think my question got down to, can someone somewhere just arbitrarily decide that they can or will jailbreak my Ring camera and hoover all the information from it completely without my knowledge?
Well, so how they would do it, BZ, is they would hack your Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So your Ring camera is on Wi-Fi, right?
Well, yes, it would be if I connected it. Yes.
Yeah. So they'd hack your Wi-Fi.
Okay. But at this point, law enforcement still solicits your permission.
That's what they say the policy is. Now, it's 2 weeks old. So who's tested it at this point? I don't know. The other side of it is, the whole Data Protection Act in California that went into.
Right. Oh my God, that cluster itself. Oh my God.
CCPA. Now, this whole thing that law enforcement is doing in California with Flock actually violates elements of CCPA. But, since it's our government doing it to us, I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
If it's a data broker doing it to us, well, it's a problem.
Yeah. Don't get me going on stingrays, for example.
Oh, stingrays are fun.
Oh, I'm sure they are. It's like, what was it? Oh my gosh.
The battle between stingrays with hackers and law enforcement, both using them, especially in Vegas, is quite interesting.
God, that when I have you on the show, you instigate certain pathways that I wish I had sufficient amounts of time to investigate. So some days what I do is, that's why I have a pen when you're on the show, and I usually have a piece of paper, and what I'm going to be writing down for the next time that you and I get together, I'm going to say, stingrays, ask Mike about them. I can tell you some things about stingrays in terms of law enforcement, but I'm sure you have a much wider aspect.
No, just for the audience, we don't want to leave them with too much of a hanger.
Sorry.
Stingray is a cellular collection device. It absolutely mimics a cell tower, and it captures literally every cell and every phone call and every text message within, what would you say, BZ, a mile?
Yeah, probably about a mile. The way that it's customarily been used for law enforcement is, if one day or night you happen to be hearing, gosh, it seems as though I'm hearing this little plane, and it just keeps going around and around and around in my neighborhood. And then maybe I get on Flight Aware, and I'm looking at, I see it in the sky, but I don't see it here. What that means is some entity is up in the plane with a stingray trying to mimic a website to see if they can pick up generally a suspect in a particular case, and they may or may not have a warrant to be able to do that, as with, say, for example, my irksome encounter with Liberty Safes. Now, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, when it was the 90s, I was a detective in the early 2000s. And in the process of doing that, at least in Califailure, always spell it with a K, if I wanted to get a warrant for items, say a search warrant, not an arrest warrant, and I am inside looking for indicia of fill in the blank, and then in there, I discover, because it's big enough to be able to contain what it is that I'm looking for, let's say there's a safe in there. Now, if I had to get into the house, I needed a warrant. If I wanted to get into the safe itself specifically, I would need a separate warrant for that. Liberty Safe coughed up all the codes for people that had Liberty safes when they were asked by law enforcement, and no warrant was served. They just gave it up. I have a big problem with that.
Well, and I mean, that's the whole thing with Stingray. They may be looking for one specific individual that they've got a warrant for that individual, but the 1 square mile of everybody else's conversations that they captured are not covered by that warrant.
Yeah, you're going to hoover up all that stuff. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I used to do pen registers and Title 3s, I believe. I forgot all my UCMJ stuff. Excuse me, all my US code stuff. Anyway, a Title 3 is like all the old movies that you'd see in the 60s and 70s, where a guy in a sweat-stained shirt with a thin tie has a reel-to-reel machine in front of him, and then he's listening to, Andy the Swordfish from the Mafia, and you turn on the tape, and then you don't hear anything for a certain period of time, then you turn it off. And then Andy the Swordfish says something revelatory. Shit, I forgot to turn the machine back on, but you can't leave it on that much. It's like, OMG. Well, now you don't need that anymore.
No.
You can just hoover up as much information, much like the NSA at the Super Data Center in Utah has everything. For those of you just tuned in, everything. And in case you did just tune in, they have everything. They have it all. So when somebody says, oh, we can't get this information from the Secret Service because they derezzed it, bullshit.
No, I mean, it just a side note. The whole thing with James Comey today was really interesting.
I see. That's another thing that I didn't get into.
That was really interesting.
I had it over here. I was gonna. Oh, this thing is with Comey is great. Justthenews.com. Justthenews.com.
Yeah.
John Solomon. John Solomon is a super squared away journalist. He's got all the goods, all the great stuff. If you go to any site for news, your first stop every day should be justthenews.com with John Solomon. The dude is super amazing. And with that, we're running out of time. So, Mike Fitzpatrick, first, is there something that we may have missed tonight that you it's just exuding from every pore that you got to get out and talk about it before we go?
No, I think we covered everything. I think the big thing I wanted to really bring to everybody's attention is this flock safety that is probably in your neighborhood, that is probably in your community, and I can see it being a concern somewhere down the line.
Funny thing is, when I was still in Califailure, I go over to my brother's house, and he's in a really ritzy community because when he sold, he made multiple millions of dollars. And so he's got a 75,000, 20-bedroom house for he and his wife, and that's it. And they live in a super nice area. And there's one of those poles with a camera in his neighborhood, and it's not high crime. So the only thing I can think of is surveillance, flock, all the take that they must be acquiring, and then whatever take that it is that they're acquiring, sales. Somebody is making a profit on that thing. And when you as an individual are not paying for social media, although you're paying for your taxes for these cameras, you are the commodity being sold, folks. You are the product. So Mike Fitzpatrick, as per normal, I have had a wondrous time.
It's been fun.
I have had a lesser amount of potato water than I would customarily have because I was hinging on multiple sentences. But before we go, again, if you would regale people with your site, what you do, any information that you'd like to provide, and please go ahead and do that with before we end the show.
BC, it is an absolute pleasure every time we're together,
and it's fun. And I learned something.
We try to make it fun, and we try to, have a little humor along the way, because I find that teaching with humor, especially when it's a dry subject like this, it makes it a little easier. So if you'd like to get in touch with us and, go to ncxgroup.com, I've got live advisors there on the website. And if you'd like to talk to us and schedule a meeting, they can take care of that for you. If you want to follow me on X, it's NCX CEO. If you want to follow the business, it's NCX Group. LinkedIn, it's under NCX Group. So, but again, BZ, it's always fun. I have a blast. Someday I wish I could actually have a conversation about politics. That would be fun. But
yes, but I understand why we limit the scope of our
Churches.
discussions. Someday, perhaps, you may be able to embiggen those discussion lanes, and we'll do that when that day happens. Up until then, you are and shall always remain my cybersecurity expert. Look, I'm actually pointing the proper
Hey.
direction. Huh?
Far better than me.
Mike Fitzpatrick right here. And thank you, sir, for being here tonight.
Thanks, BC.
All righty. Thanks to you as well. Folks, I hope you enjoyed it. I did, as per normal. I like my Newsom 2028 shirt. His reply to, or his text or his reply, I'm not sure which, to Kamala Harris, brushing her off, and then he never called her back. And he texted and said, I'm sorry, I didn't get to you because I was hiking. I will call back. And then he never called back. There's so many other things that I wanted to talk about tonight. But before I go, I also want to begin mentioning this. Go to shrmedia.com, shrmedia.com, and if you would partake of these great shows that are right there. There are 4 great shows. The first and foremost, because I am the greatest, is on the far left, the BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Featured on Tuesday, select and exclusive, Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific. Now, I'm a visual guy, so you can hear my voice, but you can tell me something, but unless I hook it into something visual, that doesn't really resonate with me very much. Now, next over is Earl Big E Jackson, and his show on SHR is Mission Ready Men. He is on the same days, Tuesdays and Thursdays. However, he is at 12 p.m. noon Eastern and 9 p.m. Pacific. So Tuesday and Thursday nights, we got you covered on SHR. Now, hop one over just past the SHR Media logo right there and go to the Edge of Liberty. That's Sean Lewis, the Edge of Liberty. His show is on Monday and Wednesday nights, same time, at night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. And one over from there, there's Jersey Joe's The Reaver of Common Sense show. He is on Monday and Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And I leave this up here to illustrate for all that we've got you covered on Monday with Sean and Jersey Joe. We've got you covered on Tuesday and Thursday with myself and Earl Jackson. And Wednesday, hey, look, we got you covered on Wednesday with Sean Lewis's Edge of Liberty. We've got you covered every day of the week if you want to listen to us and watch us on SHR, because we're here for you, bucko. Okay? I just want to make sure that I promo all my dudes. And then a final programming note, if you will. Thursday night, I'm going to have something akin to a round table with regard to us breastbeating, wailing, moaning. There may be, there may be the lamentations of some women involved. In any event, Thursday night, BZ's Saloon at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. There's going to be a whole host of people with luck. Most everybody from SHR, with luck, a couple of people from KLRN. And having stated those statements, I say, so, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanking you ever so kindly for attending tonight, live and Wednesday night. You could very well be watching the re-sizzle on Wednesday night on KLRN of my show from last night. Therefore, I am, in fact, an avid time traveler. Thanks for listening. And having said that, you know what's coming, promotional consideration. is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, also by Shure and Electro Voice microphones, and by the manufacturers of my mixer, the Arrakis Company, as well as Pratt & Whitney dependable engines that produce thrust you can trust. And I should care to say that Tiara's, this lovely little cap, is by My Little Pony. And also, thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be concerting in less than 10 minutes, you can take that one to the bank. Everyone and everyone. Edge of Liberty tomorrow night. I'll be back Thursday night. You guys have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Everyone, everywhere. God bless, take care, and be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night and good luck.